guess I first got into music, I mean, into making music probably like high school, you know, my 10th grade, me and Dre met.
I've been working in the studio since 1986. I started in Washington, D.C., recording punk music down there.
I was at this pawn shop in San Antonio called Crazy Cat's Music, and they had this old Oberheim synth. You know, I just hit one key and immediately kind of like took me back to these very specific moments in childhood where I was, you know, kind of listening to a lot of pop music and recognizing a lot of the sounds from it.
I always knew that like everything else I did in my life was just like a decoy to like figure out how I could do this for a living.
We started out in the dungeon. We were like 16 years old, and it was like unfinished basement. It was red clay, pipes, rats.
We had this small black hole in an apartment in Denmark.
I had access to the band room in school. The band room had two mics, two room mics that just went to cassette. And you just keep moving people around until you get it sounding right.
So what actually happened was that she had built the ice cream truck and she wanted music for the truck, like to play out of the speaker. So I got a computer around that time and did all the ice cream songs on that.
I think the best thing about being in a professional studio environment, it was just comfort, you know what I'm saying? Because we were like, you know, 12 guys living in the house, jammed up, AC on and off, hot in the summertime, cold in the wintertime.
People call them cathedrals of sound. Every single thing is meticulously built and maintained in order to facilitate you recording.
And each one, yeah, definitely kind of has its own aesthetic to it, and that's something that people put a lot of pride into.
There's a collaboration experience that typically doesn't happen at home. So to anybody that's serious about the process, it really does take you to a next level, and it makes you think differently even about how you create.
You have all this really amazing equipment that you wouldn't normally have yourself.
The biggest benefit was, for me, was having all of the different mics, because they make such a vast difference with your voice.
I think that, you know, that's like our New York problem, is like how to sometimes really finish the vision. Like, you know, anyone can make a demo, but like to actually like see it out in the end, where you're like, this is what I want it to be. And if you could walk into like a dope studio and do that with help, like it's incredible, you know.
For us as artists to be able to express what we want to express and, you know, share it with as many people as we can. You know, that's why we do a CD, because we want to relate with, you know, people or whatever, and in order to do that you need a studio.